Guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Fore Dads Podcast. Got a lot to talk about here as we have myself, Tees, and Don Julio. A lot of good golf has been happening, especially over the weekend. Before we get into that, though, if you guys have not checked us out on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, definitely want to check us out. We're dropping lots of clips, dropping lots of footage, just dropping lots of little things just showing ourselves in the golf world, as well as what's in the bag will be coming out soon with both of us. So we're definitely really excited for things that are happening here. But Julio, to get things kicked off, Arnold Palmer Invitational, what'd you think? I mean, what'd you think?
It was a very exciting day for sure. Very exciting Sunday. A lot of people moving. I was excited to see my boy Victor Hovland up there, but also I was blown away by the performance Spieth had. And you and I were talking offline about this, but I think you kind of hit it right on the nail by saying like Spieth was just moving, but I think he was just in his own little zone,
little world.
I think he kind of forgot where he was. On the leaderboard, and he made a few mistakes here and there, but just a really, really great Sunday. It was exciting. It was very, very captivating with everything that was going on. Like, Kitayama he just kept playing his game. I mean, what about you? What did you think?
Well, I mean, I just love the fact that I felt like the leaderboard, the top 10 was just heavily loaded with studs. I mean, you had Keegan Bradley, Cam Young, Jason Day, who used to be number one in the world. It's been a while, but he's back up to there. Like you mentioned before, Victor Hovland, Tyrrell Hatton, who's been on and off, but he had a really good round. Patrick Cantlay, Jordan Spieth, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy. I mean, in order for you to win this tournament, Kitayama had to have an excellent 4 days, in which he did. And the crazy thing is, I think I saw a stat where he 3-putted, he had a double bogey in this round, in the final round at least, and he still was able to fend off that top 10 list that I just mentioned, which some of the best names in the game right now, not just, in one weekend. Kitayama came out of nowhere. And unless you're a massive fan of Kitayama himself, I mean, just his professional golf career is insane. The list of tours that he actually played in. He started in the Canadian Tour, Corn Ferry Tour, Asian Development Tour. Then he goes to the Asian Tour, Japan Tour, PGA Tour China. And that might be a different China Tour, Korean Tour, Australian Tour, Sunshine Tour, European Tour, DP World Tour, and then the PGA Tour. If there's somebody that you want to have proof of don't ever give up on your dreams, Kitayama is the perfect example of that, especially with a sport as difficult as golf and how many golfers around the world are competing to get on that PGA Tour. And what is he? He's 5'7" too. So he's not even the biggest guy, so the height wasn't anything. It wasn't just he's just a massive dude, that just could crank the ball like Bryson DeChambeau. He did it. And I was really stoked for him because, I mean, that's what I love about golf. You have those people Kitayama could be, and I'm reaching here, but he could be the next John Daly that came out of nowhere and won that U.S. Open, after being the 38th alternate that shouldn't even been on the tournament, but he got an opportunity and now he's there. I think he came away with over $3 million in this tournament. So he's set.
I think it's
3 or 4 or whatever, whatever he did, he definitely covered all the expenses that he went through all those tours before, and gives him a little bit more breathing room from here on out,
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I really think that his journey is kind of a testament to, just keep going. As long as you keep, as long as you keep performing and you're improving day by day, that's what brings you back for golf. And again, for guys like us, it's that one shot, that one pure shot that just is I'm devoting my life to this every single weekend. I'm doing this, so, I mean, that is a long, long list of tours that he's been on, but to have those on your card, to have that consistency of being on tour, even though you're starting literally from the bottom, to the, I mean, I'm not going to not start from the bottom. I mean, to start on.
But we know that there's there's more competitiveness in PGA and things like that. So yeah,
to start on the Canadian tour is that's a pretty good tour. I know a couple guys that went over there and they said the competition is tight. Corn Fair obviously is a very respected tour.
Right.
Asian Development Tour, kind of, I don't know, just the name itself kind of makes me think like it's like like a rookie ball. Like
right. No, exactly. And that's what some of these tours are. Not saying that the people in them are bad. Obviously, they have to be good enough to get there, and they're not going to be scrubs, but it's just the cream of the crop just keeps on raising with every single tour that he joined.
Yeah, man. And, just to kind of further, I guess, talk about a player that's kind of came onto the scene hot, but has etched his name in the third.
He was in Indian guy.
Sahith Theegala?
Yeah, Theegala. There you go. So he's etched his name as the 30th ranked player.
Oh, did you see that tweet?
Yeah,
did you see that tweet?
Golf ranking, which is awesome. But I love his mindset about it. He's like, yeah, I'm stoked, but like there's 29 other players that are, he's like, there's 29 other players that are like better than me. Or 29 other guys that I have to beat basically. And it's like, that's a pretty good mindset. Like, yeah, you're up there. That's all you have to take down in order to get to number one. Like it's not doable,
Right. Especially with how close you are to that. But what was the exact quote? I think, let's see here. He said, I'm overrated. You're telling me there's only 28 guys better than me? No way. There are parts of my game that are good, but there are other parts that suck. Yeah. So I was like, that's exactly how I'm sure a lot of us feel. Even if, like, not saying that like we're that good where we're 28th, but like I'm sure if you hang out with some of your friends, maybe not all of your golfing buddies, but if you were to tell someone I'm a +2 or a plus whatever your handicap is, and if they know what handicaps are, they're just going to be awestruck. They'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm like a 15 or I'm like a 20, and to you or to them, you're like a pro, with that kind of a handicap. But to you, you're like, oh, well, my chipping really sucks. Like we're our worst critic. Everybody is our worst critic, And I know for me, what's my biggest thing right now? My driver has been off, which has been odd because that's been what I've gotten better at the most. But chipping off the green has been what I've been working so hard on the last few months, just trying to get comfortable with about 5 to 10 feet off that green. And because I feel like there's a lot of opportunities to shoot better. Obviously, that's where you can gain or lose a lot of your shots. Right?
Yeah,
there.
Definitely. I mean, I think you just kind of touched on something there. We kind of briefly touched on this with like Tony. When he was on the call or when he was on podcast and just talking about practice habits, right? I have been playing as much golf as I can right now, but when I go out and practice, I've been practicing with like my 60 yard shots to in. But it's been tough because normally I'm a pretty handsy wedge player, and lately I've been like catching stuff off the toe and coming up stuff short. All of a sudden I'll hit up here and it goes like another 20 yards over the green. I'm like, what's going on? So instead of hitting a 58 from 60 yards, I've been just kind of punching, or hitting little
low 54
and 50 degrees and just kind of get the ball back on the ground and let it roll. Pick a spot and let it go. But where I've noticed the biggest improvement, I recently saw this on Twitter where Rory McIlroy talks about the short game. And I guess he told another up-and-coming PGA player, like, when you're practicing your off-the-green chip shots or your bunker shots, try and make it. Like, have the mentality that you're going to make it because you know that you have to put a good swing on it compared to just getting on the green and then taking your putt and then,
interesting,
pick your poison. But he says that when he practices his wedges, everything he hits is with the intention to make it. So he really like dials in where that spot is, knowing, the undulation of the green, how much spin he wants to put, the flight. And I was like, you know what, that's pretty simple to do, right? Like, and so I've been doing that, and dude, I'll tell you off the green, like give me a 54 degree, give me just a 58 sometimes, depending on the rough. And
Right.
I just pick a spot and I'm like, all right, now go ahead and go do your thing, ball. Like, get in the hole. I've been making a lot of them too, which is
really,
yeah, I've been seeing a huge difference. And if I do miss it, I've now gotten down the touch to where I'm like, okay, if I miss, it's like a foot, 3 feet by, which, you know, it's what I like to call with my friends, like a waste of time. Like, that should just be a gimme. Good. Make my ball.
Right.
But, you know, to that, it's like when you go to the range, and you go to the range a lot, but like, what is your purpose? Like what, when you go in there, do you go in with a plan, or you just go in just like mentally just release your day and just kind of hit some balls, do whatever, take out aggression, or you have a plan on what you're trying to work?
I always got a plan, dude, especially now that, I mean, I always did have a plan before when I first got back into golfing back in 2020 of like, oh, I'm trying to work on my iron swing, trying to work on my driver, there's always something that was off because I was getting back into it and I hadn't done it for a while, for starters, right? And I had more time too. Now with a kid, that obviously is less, but now I'm thinking a lot more of what to do when I have that time to go to the range. What am I going to use that for? You know, and me going to Dragonfly Golf Club right by me, you're able to chip on the greens, on the putting greens. You know, they have like a 40-yard chipping area or pitching area. You know, they have greenside bunkers that you can practice on. So my plan, if time allows it, is to, you know, get some of that. But it also depends on who's on there. You know, sometimes, you know, you have the local high school team that'll be there like at 2 to 5. So if I'm not able to get there earlier, I might not be able to because they might be using that area. And obviously I'm not trying to walk in there and get in the way and kind of be a jerk about it. But if I'm able, so like hypothetically, if I had whatever time I wanted to and I want to do, I do. Literally, I always do about nothing crazy because I'm limited on time still, about like 10 to 15 pitch shots inside 40 yards, 40, 45 yards. I do 10 to 15 one way and then 10 to 15 back towards my bag. So one towards the pin, one towards back. And then I'll probably have about 10 sand bunker shots, side bunker shots. And then I would like to do about like 10 to 15 chip shots right off of the green. I'm still trying to work on my spin. I'm not able to get it where you see like pros where they chip it on the green. You have like that stop, and then slows down and then it rolls. Mine's still just, I don't know if I'm just not clipping it right or what, if I'm not opening the face enough, if I have the wrong ball placement, but whatever it is, I know where it's going to go, but it's not like and it slows down and then like gradually gets to the hole.
Probably ball placement. I guarantee it's probably ball placement as well as your weight. But yeah, I mean, dude, that's awesome. Like I love that. I mean, I've been getting in the rhythm of just having a plan because normally what I'll do is I'll get over there and I will focus on, again, just like I'll put a lot more of my focus into wedges, but what I normally try and do is I try and work the ball both ways with 7-iron up. Typically my 8-iron down is pretty straight. As much as I try and move it, I just can't. So I just say, hey, if I can hit 5 perfect shots with a good, 5-yard draw, hey, all right, as long as it gets within the vicinity of like the 200-yard mark on there, it's perfect. Like I'll take that all day. And then, my 7-iron with a cut is like around 190, 193 in the foot in the air. As long as I can hit a nice little 5-yard cut, if I can hit 10 perfect shots, I'll put my club away and I go to the next one. So I just keep kind of like doing stuff like that. But I've been putting more effort into now, kind of like what you run into. I have the Sonoma State, team that practices.
Gotcha.
Of course, out front. It's pretty interesting to watch those guys and kind of see like what they do. But I don't know, maybe it's just me being a stickler, but I always see them just working driver all day. The guys, the girls are all wedges. Like the 40 to 60 yard marks that are right there on the range, dude. Those chicks are like playing games to like see who can hit the pin the most. themselves, who can get within that step. And even though the rough is long, it's just going to bite and sit. But
Right.
you're like trying to fly it to that spot.
Interesting.
And they'll do high shots, then they'll do like mid shots with like a one bounce and sit. And then, there's this one girl named Isley who's like, I think she's like probably the 1 to 3 player on the team. She just works the ball like super low, like belt buckle high, chest high, and then she's got the big flopper that just sits, and she's like dialed. It's pretty cool to watch, but yeah, man, I don't know. I've always just wanted to just work the ball right to left, and now I'm just starting to realize like cut's more of my play. Cut is
Let it happen, dude. Take advantage of it. I think for me, like we talked when we played last time Riverside, like feels like forever ago. You're like, you have a natural right to left. I definitely have a natural draw. And what I'm still working on is I just want to hit it straight. I can play a draw and that's fine, but I want to be able to hit it straight. And that's my main thing right now. I don't shank the ball, knock on wood. Haven't had that issues. I rarely will hit like, a fade / slice with an iron. But my thing is, just hitting it as straight as possible. And also with my irons, my issue is getting it up in the air. That's been my biggest issue. It'd be below to mid flight if I had my old swing, but I've working on it a ton. And like yesterday I went and I was feeling really good, and I'm hitting it high up in the air. I'm getting the height that I want. I'm actually not seeing much of a chicken elbow anymore, on my left arm. And that's also what I've been trying to do for the last 3 years, is try to get rid of that somehow. And so I always have a plan when I go to the range. I don't want to waste that time. And I hate, and sometimes it's nice because I'll always get the small bucket of balls, like maybe 40 balls, 40, 50 balls, not like 100. My hands can't, my wrists or whatever can't handle. I got like the weakest wrists in the history of wrists, bro. I don't get it. It pisses me off because like I'll be playing and the next day I'll be sore. I'm like, like for your bachelor, if I would have been there, I don't know if I would have been able to play back-to-back days without like a bottle of Aleve next to my side. Like it's ridiculous. But so like if, I'll get lucky sometimes if I'll always check the course or the range to be like, oh, if someone left a bucket of balls that they're not going to use, dibs, I'm going to grab those things anytime I can. But yeah, man, always have a plan, always have something to work on, whether I don't write it down or not. I just have it in my head. Like, oh yeah, I saw this thing. Like I saw this clip where they're working on chipping. Cause once you start thinking about it, everything gets put on your phone. Like, oh, you wanted to work on your chips, right? Oh, I got the perfect video suggested for you.
Yeah.
And, it just happens to pop up that way. And so I'll watch these things and I'm like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I'll have to try that. I don't think I've tried that.
Yeah.
And, I love it, but I feel like no matter who you are, you can be Rory McIlroy, you can be Scotty Scheffler, you can be, Tiger Woods, you're never going to be as satisfied with yourself as other people are that watch you, especially like a Tiger Woods, like he could win a tournament by 10 strokes and be like, oh, well, I didn't hit my wedges as well as I wanted to. I had a couple drives, here or there. It's like, dude, you just smoked the competition. Like,
yeah,
stop.
I mean, that's like, like Bryson, I want to say it was 2020 because I don't think there was anybody at that tournament where he won the U.S. Open or something.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Which tournament was it?
Wingfoot, U.S. Open. Yeah.
Yeah. So, after I think the first day or something like that, somebody said he was out on the range just cranking balls because something just didn't feel
right after the round. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he just kept going and going and going. All of a sudden, he just cleans it up. It's like, yeah, I mean, if you feel it, like, you go for it. My biggest thing is, like, I still flick my wrist a little bit because of baseball, and I was looking at videos, and even, like, some of the videos that we post on TikTok, I'm like, oh, my God, my swing looks terrible. Like, my hands are exiting, like, way up here. Why?
You finish great, but it does when you do turn, when you get like right out here, it does look very uncomfortable.
No, if you look at when I'm coming down through the ball, if you can do like a slow mo.
Oh, I've watched. I always do it for everybody.
My driver shaft is, instead of it coming through like the middle of my,
it's really close to your shoulder.
Through my shoulder, just coming straight down. And so now I've been working on towel drill, right? So staying connected, really focusing on that compression on the ball. I will say, irons wise, is where I really see the difference. Like I'm curing them as pure as can be, like that.
Yeah.
That 3-iron that I hit last Sunday, where it was like the let him cut video, where I just hit close, dude. That one I pieced, even though my finish looks atrocious, but I absolutely nutted that. And I even messaged Tony when I sent him the video, and I was just like, hey, man, I know you're a coach. I just really want to say I appreciate you not telling me how shitty my golf swing is, and not trying to correct it. He was like, dude, he's like, it's your swing. Like, you start the ball up better than anybody else I've ever seen. And
who is he to change that up, right? Yeah. If you do what you're supposed to do.
I get like 360, 400 yards on some days. He's like, dude, it's insane. He's like, your hand-eye coordination is just ridiculous. But he's like, imagine how much further you can get if you can get your swing on plane. I was like, that's what I'm working to. So the towel drill, towel drill has been just night and day for me. So I'm going to continue to do that. It's going to be like my warm-up routine. Is just to feel that connection. I'm even trying to be a little bit more like over dramatic with it, where I'm kind of doing like even like a Fleetwood, just hold it up.
Yeah.
Hold up. Just remember, like, hey, this is all I need to do is just hold right here. I'm good. But
man,
I think the range is crucial.
Right.
I know we kind of got a little taken away there, but I love it, and I think it's it's always great to hear what people do and kind of what your mindset is and going into that. But in big news, they've officially announced Full Swing 2.
Yes,
I know you're excited.
Heck yes,
Netflix is excited because I really don't think Netflix truly understood how much of a hit this was going to be.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Because this is probably the quickest announcement for any show. I mean, you hear about this with like, from the shows that I watch with my wife, you don't hear about these quick announcements for next season with like Love is Blind, Perfect Match.
Did it come out a month ago? How long ago was it? It had been like less than a month.
It was a month ago. Well, no, it was February 24th.
Was it? Let me see.
February 24th is, I think, the day it dropped.
February 15th.
15th. Okay.
So still less than a month. Still less than
a month, dude. So,
dude, I mean, I just like you said, like Julio and I were talking off camera before, and I was telling him about Twitter and how like you're constantly getting suggestions on people who you might like or things posts you might be interested in, and I was just seeing a lot of people who are just like, oh, I just never into golf. Like, how do you do this? Like, is it worth it? Should I get into it? I'm really excited. I want to go to a golf tournament. I want to check out a golf tournament. I want to get that experience. And you're just seeing so many people that obviously have never seen golf in that way get turned on to it. Like, oh my gosh, this is actually really exciting.
Was our trip to the Pro-Am like your first? Was that your first golf tournament you had ever been to?
No, I went to, I believe they called it the Target Invitational back in like 2003 to 2004, 2005. One of the
beyond me. I don't even think I was into golf at that time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was like right around 8th grade, the summer 8th grade. I got into it. My dad worked in the food industry, and he always got like tickets for Dodger games, right? Like he had a lot of clients in LA, and they're like, hey, if you ever need to go to a Dodger game, let me know. We went to a ton of Dodger games, went to a lot of things, and I guess he was able to get tickets. I'd actually assume, I'll probably have to ask him later to clarify this.
I mean, the most,
but it was Tiger Woods' tournament that hosted it in Thousand Oaks, really? And so like I still remember watching Jim Furyk on the range, and I was like, this is like over 20 years ago now. I'm going on 32 in like a week. And so like you have Jim Furyk on the range, because his swing was nuts, but it was weird, but it was so pure at the same time. Like he would just hit it so well, and then everyone's staring at Tiger Woods. I remember sitting on the 18th hole with my dad, watching Tiger Woods almost fall into like one of the little rivers where his ball was like perched up on the 18th hole. I did not dress up in like golf attire. It was my first time for a tournament. I think he went to one in like Hawaii before I was even born. when they were visiting
like
there.
Tommy Bahama with like a sweet like shorts and.
I don't know. I was in 8th grade. I didn't care what I wore back then. But I mean, I remember one of the kids that we brought with us. He was a few years older than me, but he was into golf, 100%. Like that was like his thing. He played high school and college and everything. And I'm like, dude, why are you wearing golf? Why are you wearing a golf outfit, dude? We're just going to a tournament. He's like, dude, shut up. Just go and look at the people and then tell me what you think. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, everyone dresses in golf attire.
Yeah.
Like I'm the outcast here. I had no idea. But it was just really cool and surreal at that time also to see people so up close. Cause obviously at baseball games, you're limited to like not during the event, you know, you're not able to get close to them unless they're robbing a ball and you're on the sidelines and things like that. But like, you're able to walk with them and they could be right next to you, you know, depending on where their shot is. And I just thought that was like really cool. And also kind of like, wow, they really hyped this thing up because it's just guys playing golf, you know, at the end of the day, you know, that's really what it is. But Tiger Woods, of course, stole the show. And it was just, that was my first experience. And my second was Pebble Beach Pro-Am 2023. Yeah. And that's another event that I don't think they're having Pro-Am anymore. Did you hear about that? They're changing it for 2023 or 2024. They're like getting rid of the amateurs, and they're making it one of the elevated events that they talked about. So it's something that definitely would like to look into in the future, but I still think it'd be a fun tournament because, and that'll bring a lot more top PGA guys to it, guaranteed.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like that's kind of disappointing because I think a lot of people really liked
it for that. Yeah,
like the celebrity tournament, but also too is like you have the one over at Edgewood every year. You know, the celebrity tournament where everybody goes crazy. That's kind of like another, I guess, waste management experience because you got all the boats parked on Lake Tahoe right there in Emerald Bay, just watching that's the 16th hole, par 4 that's like right alongside the water. Like everyone's watching there. Obviously you see a lot of clips of like, you know, Steph Curry making shots on somebody's boat, and then you see Mahomes always throwing the ball, Aaron Rodgers always throwing
out on the boat too. Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, Kelsey just, you know,
Travis. But anyway, hold on, really quickly. We totally got off the full swing too. What are your thoughts on the second one? What do you want to see? Any players that you want to just so we can get this over with? Because I know it's exciting. Like full swing 2 is gonna be sick. But like, who would you like to see more of? What would you like to see more of? Also, what and who?
I would like to see some of the newer stars. Like I hope that maybe they could do a little bit more coverage on Zalatoris since he has been an up and rising star. You know, I mean, he came out pretty strong in his rookie season. I would love to see obviously Victor Hovland a little bit more highlighted. I'm trying to think of like who else I would.
Gotta add Max Homa. More Max Homa. They did not do a thing on him.
That's right before you said it. I think Max Homa would be perfect for it as well, and even Tagala. More on him would be great. But I also think the people that they did too, it gave a really, really good insight to like what the different personalities are of these top golfers. I mean, Tony Finau, like, bro, that guy is, I think that dude has everybody in his corner now. Everybody's like,
100%.
We got to protect Tony. No one should talk crap about Tony. If you do,
you can't.
We're going to see.
You can't. Right.
And to see the passion that Tagala, showed and, displayed during
that waste management.
Also, too, is like, that's just something you don't see. Like, I mean,
I almost started crying on that dude. Like the way like his parents were like, supporting him.
His dad just literally
was amazing.
But I love the part where like, the classic mom. Oh my boy, he's doing so good. He's doing so good. Oh, is that for a par? And all of a sudden dad's like, no, it's a double. She's like, yeah, good or bad? Like, yeah. I mean, I know it's, it's obviously sad, but like, I just love that. I love that it highlighted like just the classic mom. My baby boy is doing something great. He's got a chance here, and still to like finish the way he did. He was just upset because he just all the weight of everything that happened, and he just let it show. But
Yeah.
Still, he had a lot to hold his head up high, with a lot of things. I would love to see a little bit more on Joel. I think that would be great. But to your point, Max Homa definitely should be highlighted for sure because, he won. I got to see him win over at the Fortinet at Silverado. That was a hell of a finish. I mean, the guy that he beat, I forget what his name is, but he was the one who kind of took the Masters from Jordan Spieth when he had that blow up. What was his name? Starts with his last name starts with a W. Danny
Willett?
Yeah, no? Daniel Willett. He literally had a putt that was like 4 feet, maybe closer, and he butchers it and literally just goes, he won! And then Max Homa comes out of the 10. He's like, I just won. Like, I thought we were going to have a playoff or something, and he won.
Oh, my gosh.
That course great, man. Like, it was fun. I was following him the whole time. It was a heck of an experience to watch the course that I've played so many times.
Right.
He played.
So jealous. I need to play that.
And going back to our conversations about, the tournaments, like when you're there and you've been to some of these places, it is very different to the way that we see it as amateurs to the way that the professional plays it. And even when they have a bad shot, like you can't help but like reminisce and be like, yeah, I've been there. Let's see how he gets out of it. Right. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah. This seems like to get your rangefinder. It's about a 7-iron, maybe about if you're playing up about 5 yards. I
feel like that's how everybody was when the PGA Championship was at Harding Park, because everybody in the Bay Area has played Harding Park. I mean, there's no other.
And it's not a country club, right? It's not a country club, right? So like that's the best part.
Olympics on the other side of the lake, but I mean, still like. Everyone has played that course. So a lot of people were like, and again, like to see some of the people struggle the way that they played, like was kind of shocking to most, because it's like, it's not a very hard hole. Like what happened? I will say though, the days that they were there and how they were like, it was cold, it was windy. When it's cold and windy at that course, it becomes extremely tough. But
I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean,
I think too, for Full Swing, besides I would love to see more on the LIV as well, just to see if we can get like up and close and personal with Brooks Koepka and his buyer's remorse. That would be awesome. Just see how their transitions are. Because obviously they're still talking smack back and forth. And then this week you had Rory finally come out and say, well, of course everything is worked out, and it's what happened now is the best thing for the game with LIV. And now the PGA, they're doing no cuts on some of their tournaments now, which is kind of following what the LIV is doing, no cuts. And that was a LIV thing. And like, there's so many new things that are coming out where it's like, it'd be cool to see both sides of it. I don't want like a separate Full Swing LIV, kind of a thing.
Who knows? Maybe Full Swing 2 might just be highlighted on LIV.
Wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised either. Just continue to highlight those guys. Talk to Bryson. Really get the insight as to like what made you guys leave.
Right.
Same thing with like Cam Smith. There's a lot coming out about Cam Smith and how people are saying like he deserves to get more championships. He deserves to be able to do this. Like he earned it. But it's like bro, you left at like the peak of your PGA career. Just to go get more money, but yet you already, in your last 2 wins, you already had made $10 million. Like,
right.
You're talking about within less than a month of actually having to work, like,
he does live in Australia. He is from Australia. So, that's a lot of gas, man. I don't know. How expensive gas is nowadays.
Yeah.
Got to pay somehow.
Yeah, it just I think either way it would be great to see. I'm excited for it. Kind of continuing on LIV. Yeah, like what do you think of this free agent type of new rules that they just announced not too long ago?
Oh, I just saw they had like a quick little clip. I think it was like on the LIV Twitter. They had like a little video of like what to expect from this year. And so they had free agency which I was like, that's interesting that players can swap teams. It'd be interesting to see how they do that, like a Harold Varner for, a Bryson DeChambeau, or maybe not like that. Those are just two players that I thought of off the top of my head. Would it be a swap? Would it be a money swap as well? Would there be anything else added to that?
I don't think they'll touch the money, but what I do see is like they're going to have trade deadlines, right? Where, hey, Bryson's on a hot streak. We're going to trade Chase Koepka for Bryson to come over to our team when it comes to like those final playoffs. Mm-hmm. That's what I kind of see. I don't know how I feel about it because I could see something like that being implemented for like a Ryder Cup.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I always wonder if it's not going to be 1v1, and let's say they do like a 2-for-1, like then the teams are uneven in the sense of number of players, so they have to somewhat keep it normal. Regardless, it'll be interesting to see how it goes down. Yeah. I know what I was really interested in, or not interested, what I was really shocked and kind of stoked to hear about was the 4 players, or players can be relegated. They can be relegated. That's what it is. Just like in professional soccer, or at least European soccer. If you watch European soccer, the bottom 4 of every league goes down to the next division. So technically, MLB, you have the worst team in baseball. They become a AAA team. The top 4 AAA team or top 4 AAA teams become the pro teams that next year, and so that can happen. So I guess team or people aren't guaranteed a spot every year unless they're in the top 15. I think that's like the guaranteed for the next year, which I think is pretty cool because there are also qualifier tournaments like you would for a US Open that allow people an opportunity to make it to the LIV Tour. So I think that is a really cool opportunity. My only issue was if I was a kid that had everything going for him in golf and like was a stud that was working his way like a Kurt Kitayama, before this win that he had, would trying to make it on the LIV Tour via these tournaments just give me zero chance to make the PGA Tour if I ever did make LIV, right? If it's just like, hey, I'm just trying to get on a tour, just trying to make money, and it's nothing against the PGA Tour, it just might be more difficult that route, so I'm going to go the LIV way, like, does that screw them over? Because that could also have a big indication as to how many good people or great players are going to try compared to PGA Tour.
Well, I think Tiger touched on something like this regarding the LIV and what he kind of foresaw it becoming. Mm-hmm. Again, I may be completely wrong on this, or I might just be misquoting it entirely, but I feel like based off of the popularity that the LIV can generate is where the PGA is going to essentially make a decision of whether or not the LIV is an actual threat, mm-hmm. or if it's something that, hey, we can just buy you and you could be the minor leagues of the PGA, right? Kind of like how the Korn Ferry acts. Mm-hmm. But it would be a more, I guess it would be more of a feeder, like a more guaranteed feeder to the PGA. Because, yeah, honestly, if you go on to LIV, the people that are there now are professional players. Mm-hmm. I've already seen tournaments being advertised on my amateur website where I go and book my tournaments that show the LIV having open amateur tournaments to come in and qualify. So they're wanting to do, it seems like they're wanting to do tournaments to like grow it. Say, hey, if you're not making a tour, you're not making, and again, if you're just not making cuts, right? Like it is tough. If you're going through like, through not the NCGA, but if you're going through PGA of America to like try and get into these amateur tournaments to like qualify and potentially play in like a US Open or something like that, like these tournaments are hard and they fill up quick. Like mm-hmm. That's the other thing. But it's the only place where like people like you and I could go and have a shot to play. Yeah, right. If our game, if we want to give it a shot, those are the only places that we can go. So I feel like LIV is doing that. Like LIV is trying to already push. Like, hey, if you're an amateur wanting to get your shot to be on a tour, we got you. Mm-hmm. And again, with that, when you're giving people more opportunity, comes more fans. But again, obviously, the biggest showing is that, hey, we have these top-notch players here, who are here doing things. But ultimately, that's kind of the way that I think Tiger kind of foresaw it that way too. Something about it.
I mean, I know from personal experience of an issue of a chance that I could have probably taken. Obviously, different scenario, but like similar kind of aspect where I am the town. The teachers went on a strike. School teachers went on a strike. They weren't getting paid enough. They wanted more. They deserve more. In my opinion, they do. And they were holding out. And so obviously this school district needed substitute teachers. And so the school district itself was saying, okay, since we haven't come to an agreement, we are willing to pay $5 million a day to substitute teachers. Obviously not one teacher, but that broke down to about like $1,000 a day as a substitute teacher. And you're only there for like 7.5 hours. It's like the easiest money ever, $1,000. But if you ever do, supposedly, I never got into it, but like if you were going to be a substitute teacher, you were blacklisted. So anytime that you had a job opening for that, school district, you weren't getting it or anything like that. You were blacklisted automatically because
that's basically what they did to the PGA players that left. Is like
exactly.
The chairman was like, "Well, you're blacklisted. You're not going to play in any majors." But ultimately, they earn their spots to be in majors, which is why now they're opening it up to the LIV players that are there to say, "Hey, come on in and play." Right? Mm-hmm. Like you essentially have earned the right. But for any new players, right, like Joaquin Neiman, who hasn't won a major. He can't go over. Or who was the other Latin guy that was Pito
Maria, or what's his name?
Pito Maria. Like, same with him. He'll never get to blow a PGA championship ever again. Like,
you might be happy about that, but
yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying, that's where it kind of hurts. That's where obviously the chairman they kind of have to bite the bullet here with some of the players that left, because ultimately those players have earned their right, especially like Phil. So
right.
I think it's great. I mean, I still think that it still continues to bring back the players that people love to see, like DJ. But I will say I'm curious to see how they perform, being that they only play 3 days, and obviously the pace of play is probably much quicker. So I'm curious now, like when they come to these majors, like how are these guys going to adapt, being that you're talking about 5.5, 6 hour round, because everyone's doing their pre-shot discussions, their pre-shot ritual and everything. Like I feel like Koepka's just gonna freaking lose it.
Oh my gosh. I mean one thing was it you or someone told me that like it could have been you, dude. I'm out of it. But it just might have been an interview. They had like at one of the PGA tournaments, one of the last few weeks, they started playing music on the driving range, which has never been played.
Yeah.
You know, and they were just like, well, that's like what LIV started. Chill. Relax. Everyone just basically a massive boys' getaway weekend.
They did it. They did it They did it at the Pro-Am. They had music. They had light music playing at the Pro-Am. Then they did it at the Honda Classic, and they did it at the Arnold Invitational. And I'm pretty sure players have already said they have like a couple speakers out with like light, light background music for the players this weekend.
Dang, well, so I think that's really cool. And I think one thing we should touch on before we end this podcast really quickly with LIV, and I know I sent you some information on this, was when they are playing in Australia, I'm trying to think, when are they playing? They're playing, I guess next month, they're playing at the Grange Golf Club Golf Club in Adelaide. And on the 12th hole, par 3, they're trying to create a party hole like they do at the Waste Management Open 16th hole with 20,000 fans. Yep. And it's not as I'm looking at the picture right now. I'll probably have it displayed for everyone to see, but it's not like as high as you see the 16th, where it's really surrounded stadium side.
Yeah.
But I just think it's a pretty cool idea. I mean, it's LIV. Why not, dude? Like, why isn't every hole like that? Imagine having a whole course just stadium. How awesome would that be?
Well, the PGA has even talked about doing that, like having one hole where it's like, hey, this is like the iconic par 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, could you imagine if they actually set up like full-on music booths for, what is it, the 17th hole at Sawgrass?
Oh my! And fans actually, well, I'm trying to think how you, or like they just had boats. They had boats around like in the water or something, you know? Like,
I mean, you can make it look like the Hard Rock Formula One Miami race, right? Where they have those boats just parked in there. But I mean, they'd have to put like a net over the water so people don't just jump off their.
Oh, the amount of hammered people that are going to be like, "Hey, look at me, let's go!"
I'm just saying, like, could you imagine like, for all these iconic par 3s, like to have a massive stadium like that? Like, it would be a guaranteed. It would be a guaranteed revenue generator for LIV and for PGA. But
yes,
it's like
too much of a good thing is never a good thing. You know, like if you do it too often.
But again, you're already starting to see the things that the more relaxed type of environments that LIV is producing starting to make its way
into
the PGA, right? And that's where you're seeing players like Bubba, who just really aren't they're not about it. They're hey, this game is made this way. Like, why are we changing it? And it's like you gotta do what the fans want, right? Like,
right. What'll help you get paid?
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, the fans pay for your purse, like
pretty much, right?
So right. I think it's cool. I mean, it's like shit. LIV bought what, like 60 or 100 something. I don't know,
acres.
A couple thousand acres just down the street from Augusta because they want to have a tournament like the Masters too. Like
the week after or week before, the Masters. That would be like the ultimate boys trip,
for these guys, like. So LIV Golf is actually named LIV Golf Investments. It's a Saudi Arabian like venture capitalist company, and they have endless amounts of money. So I saw like the earnings of like Q1 for LIV Investments. LIV Golf is in the red. Like they're not making any money
right now. But no.
LIV Golf Investments is making a crap ton of money. So it's like, to them, this is just an extra hobby that they're trying to compete with, like the American PGA. Say, hey, we got a league, and we got an Australian who the guy is he's a visionary. He's got an idea. He's taking all the things that the PGA does, but then adding a new twist to like make it more fan engaging, more sticky for people to want to come check this out, because golf itself for some can be very boring. Oh, you're just chasing the ball all day. Like, you sit out here for 4.5 hours and just watch someone else play. Like,
don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on those conversations, man.
Just saying, like, you have people that see that, just like how people say baseball's boring. Right?
Of course. No, I get that. No, I who are they talking to? There's always like those people that are like, oh, you boys chasing a ball around, you only hit a ball into a hole, or it's like, oh, these boys get paid millions for just kicking a ball into a net, or these guys get paid millions to shoot a ball into a net. Like, okay, if you simplify everything, then yes, it's ridiculous. But
it's like marriage,
like it's what?
So it's like marriage.
But
you do everything you can to get the hole, and then all of a sudden you just now you're paying for it. I was kidding.
Oh geez, Julio. Oh man. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if you simplify everything, like, then it just seems like basic and not fun, right? But like, when you think about it and you actually play it, playing things is a lot more entertaining than watching. Obviously, watching the best of the best compete in any sport is more entertaining than watching you or me play. Yeah. Well, for some of them, it's also funny to watch someone like me just get pissed at a bad shot. That won't happen as much with a pro, but it's also nice to be inspired or awestruck by amazing shots, amazing plays that you can.
Pros get pissed. It's just like us.
When less. Right. But like,
man, those guys get.
I'm just saying, you have me playing with Victor Hovland. You have me playing with Max Homa. just 1v1, just playing. And I'm obviously trying to take it seriously. Probably until like the second hole, and I'm just like, screw it, any bad shot, I'm laughing now. I don't care anymore, because I'm like, there's no chance that I have to beat this guy, like.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like,
if you're gonna take that scenario, let's just say you win an amateur. Okay, you win an amateur. So now you have an exemption to go play.
Yeah,
an open with these guys. You get paired up with those two. Just like how we were in college for baseball. If we gave up a home run on a bad pitch, we were livid, but we couldn't show that emotion because now you get the dugouts like, oh, he's rattled, oh, he's this, like you just couldn't. And it's the same thing with these guys. Like these guys literally, you got to think, these guys hit golf balls every single day. Their life is consumed with this sport.
Yep.
Everything that identifies them has something to do with a putter, a shot, right? Just a golf ball in general. So when you've done something so religiously with that much repetition, you learn to kind of channel that anger and be like, I'm about here right now, right? Or they do something where maybe they just go to their towel and they wipe their arms, like you see Tiger after a bad shot to get like refocused, like, hey, let it go, reanalyze, refocus, do your thing. Right. Or you just see an outright guy loses it. Like Homa with the bunker, right? Guy hits a bad shot out of the bunker, throws his club. Or you'll see someone just snap the club over their back. Or you see Rory just huck it into the water. Like these guys have moments. We're all human. That's true. But ultimately though, like just because you and I pay to play and we're not getting paid to play unless we play like in the skins game, it's okay for us to get upset. Now you're going to sit there and have a temper tantrum and break every club in your bag like that. Hey, you do you, buddy. Like that's your thing. I've seen that before too. You go ahead and do your thing, but hey, we hold ourselves to a higher standard. It's a game. It is a game that is very selfish. It's very you. So if you're hitting a bad shot, and you had expectations to do better, and you just can't get it together, it's all right. I mean, Tagala cried. It happened, and he still played a great tournament.
Right. I honestly think it'd be awesome if every player were mic'd up throughout the whole round. Oh, I would love that.
So I've heard rumors via Twitter and TikTok that this is something that the PGA is actually looking to do for like featured groups on ESPN Plus. So like when you're
hearing what I'm talking about.
Really talk through his shots, when you're hearing like JT talk about certain things. I've heard that that's something that we could potentially see probably next season. Honestly, because people really, really take to the conversations that are being had when they're like, hey, you got 245, to the hole. We got a wind coming off the right side. I'm thinking we should, hit it 220. You got the slope that feeds toward the back. Maybe give it a mid flight. Like it's pretty interesting.
How much goes into it?
How much goes into it? Yeah. Hit more club. Give it about a 70% swing. Smooth. Let it do its thing. And all of a sudden they just nail it. Like to a T.
Yeah, dude. It's freaking nuts.
Yeah, it's really cool to kind of hear that. But all right, guys. Well, thank you for attending another awesome episode of Fore Dads Podcast. We are really trying to push out as much content as possible, guys. I'm basically acting as like a social media manager with our TikTok account, really pushing out some what I feel are great videos. Please, check us out, subscribe, follow us. We're always looking to connect with new people. If you have something that maybe you want to talk about, we'd be more than happy to invite you on the podcast and just kind of, have conversations. But other than that, Teeds, pleasure. Everyone else, have yourself a great rest of the week.
Always.